Joining us now, a Concordia alum who did his GA years under John Beilein at the University of Michigan, our good buddy, the Coach Kyle Barlow, an assistant for the Ohio University Bobcats. Coach Barlow coming off a big dub. How are you, my friend?
Absolutely. I'm doing great, man. Big rivalry dub. It was good. 8,000 people plus packed in the combo, man.
You know what? Let me ask you about that, Coach. Let me ask you about that. I heard 8,300 in the Convocation Center for that game. Is that true?
It was rocking. And, yes, that's absolutely true. Last year against Toledo, we had 10,000. And you could tell, because that was a battle for first place, you could tell there's probably a little more at that Toledo game, but the crowd was raucous because it's Miami rivalry. Sibs weekend, got all the bars were packed with older siblings trying to get younger siblings in, trying to memorize the fake IDs, I'm sure, on Court Street. It was glorious weekend in Athens.
Oh, the college days. Those college campus, I don't know how you guys do it being around those campuses like that. But hey, I'm glad you got the big rivalry victory. I know that meant a lot to you, and it's a dogfight right now. Who would have thought the Akron Zips at 9-1 in first place in the conference? I mean, Akron's typically good. I didn't see this coming though.
Yeah, I mean they have one of the best defenses in the league. You look at them and Kent State, top two defensive teams, and then you got alternating style with Toledo, with who's right behind them. With one of the best offenses in the country, a top 10 offense in the country. So, the game tonight, I think it's at Akron, I believe.
It is.
It
is.
Toledo.
Toledo at Akron. Yep.
It's going to be a clash of styles. Similar to the game tonight for us. We're up in DeKalb, Illinois, going to play Northern Illinois. They got some really good offensive weapons, and so it'll be good. It'll be a great night in the MAC if you're into some action, some midweek action, I might add. So it's going to be great.
All of these games, by the way, on ESPN Plus. I think every game in the MAC tonight is on Plus, so if you do have the ESPN subscription. And if I'm not mistaken, Northern Illinois did pull off some funny business. They actually beat Kent State. The Huskies, the team you guys are going to play, on the road in DeKalb. I don't know, when I was in school, like they would have like 3 people at the game. And those are like people like us that were working. I'm counting myself. But they actually beat Kent State. They are 3-1 in their last 4. They're starting to get hot at the right time.
Yeah, with a 4-game road winning streak to go along with that 3-1 in the last 4. So really, really interesting team. They have 3 guards who are really, really good. Coit, number 11. And then Darwishi Hunter, D2 transfer, plays the wing for them. And then Caleb Thornton, a kid from Chicago as well. So some really good players. And then they have long, athletic bigs and wings coming off the bench. So, yeah, very good team. Very sneakily good team. Not a lot of people saw them. At this point, I think they're 6-4 in the league or something around there. So not a lot of people saw them like that at this point. But really good team. Going to be a really good challenge. And, you're right. It's like, it's a home court advantage for them, but it's for a different reason. It's not because you have to deal with, 5,000 students coming at your neck, right? You're going to have to kind of bring your own energy, kind of a weird vibe. But, hey, man, if they keep winning, they're going to bring some fans, Hey, we all know the best marketing team in the country, right? Can't get more fans in there than the winningest teams.
Hey, that's what you know what? Thank you for saying that. I've been saying that for as long as I've been alive. And I used to get so much pushback about no, it's about, theme nights and this. It's like, dude, win games. Yeah. You win, you get into the playoffs, you start competing. Everybody's going to show up. It doesn't matter if you got Princess Night, free T-shirts, you hand out free hot dogs to free beer. It wouldn't matter.
Whoa, free beer.
Okay, all right. That you can't, a little bit of a stretch. You should have stopped at the free glizzies, as the kids call them. Why do they call hot dogs glizzies? I have no idea.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's kids. But actually, a very, very important night in Mid-American Conference hoops tonight. So if you have Plus, throw it on because this is it's a dogfight kind of night here. Everybody's playing for something tonight, and I like that big time night. Now I got to ask you this. Because, you are, you're a guy who loves the game of hoops. I'm a guy that loves the game of hoops. There are some things that just don't make a lot of sense. When it first came out that Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving were going to play basketball together, I said, well, this just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We've already seen this before in OKC. Substitute Russell for Kyrie, add a Serge Ibaka, It didn't work then, right? And it's never worked for Kevin Durant anywhere outside of Golden State. It's never worked for Russ anywhere ever. And for Kyrie Irving, it only worked when LeBron James was around. And then they decided to trade James Harden for Ben Simmons, which is great because, when you have Harden and Kyrie and Durant, it's like we don't have enough basketballs because everybody wants to shoot. When you add Ben Simmons, the guy's petrified to shoot the basketball, so it works out great because he's never going to shoot it. So you take all the Harden shots and you disperse those. And Ben Simmons is like, it's going to be so scary to come play us. Well, now that doesn't work. And now Kyrie's out of there. My question to you is, has there ever been a team that has ever regretted losing Kyrie Irving? Has it ever not worked out for the team that he's left?
Has it ever worked out for the team that he's went to? I mean, you look at
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right because remember that he went to because it's either trade or free agency. He was drafted by Cleveland, and LeBron came to save his rear.
Yep. And then he hit the big shot, and, we'll all go down and remember that, but that was clearly LeBron's team. And the year before, him and Kevin Love couldn't be counted on getting injured, and LeBron carried them in 2015, and then parlayed that into 2016 where, the big shot is Kyrie hit it, and, LeBron, for as much flack as he always takes about his crunch time and that, like, I'll go off on another tangent right now, just a little one. LeBron is one of the most clutch players of all time. If you look at clutch time scoring, it's him and Kobe Bryant. 8-game winners when the ball's in the air in overtime or fourth quarter. That's most all time. And people say, well, I'm not putting him in the top scorer debate now that, he's going to break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record. LeBron is one of the best scorers of all time. I mean, just look at the career scoring average. You got Michael Jordan going, untouchable at 30.1. And then right under that, it's 30. I forget who it is. And then you got Kobe. But it's like
Kareem.
LeBron has averaged – yes, thank you. LeBron has averaged 25 or more points for his entire career. Like, yeah, it's a longevity award, but it's also an award of a very gifted scorer when he sees double teams and triple teams all day. And you know what? Teams don't do that to him anymore because he's one of the best passers of all time. He's going to wind up being a top 3 in assists all time as well. So, I don't want to hear it about the clutchness with LeBron. But anyways, yes, Kyrie gets drafted for the Cavs. And then after that, it's just a series of unfortunate events. Ask a Boston fan how they feel about the Kyrie Irving years. You know what I mean? Like, that was supposed to be the savior. Ask a Boston fan how they feel about that.
No, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Like, that's exactly where I was going with it. I mean, he damn near destroyed Boston. They move on from him. They're fine. They're right back in the finals.
And it's like, they have good relationships, with the assistant GM has a good Nike relationship with the Mavs with Kyrie. So you don't think Kevin Durant had a good relationship with Kyrie? Like, they wanted to make this whole thing happen in the first place. Like, who's to say this guy who has a good relationship with the Mavs is going to make him change his behavior? Like, because you know what the best predictor for future behavior is, Bellino?
Past behavior?
That's the best prediction, man. And I think it's a desperation move by the Mavs.
Yeah, and I so many thoughts there. First, to the LeBron James scoring. You know how I feel about LeBron. I am ultra protective of Michael for God knows what reason. The guy doesn't pay my bills. Get over it. But LeBron, a.k.a. Le Flop, Le Convenience, Le Flee the team and, jump around, Le Super Team. The dude, if you took away all of his dunks and all of his three-pointers, he'd still be top 14 in all-time scoring. So that, that's crazy. That's crazy to think. No dunks, no three-pointers, still top 14 all-time. He's an incredible passer. He is very much a hypocrite, but, whatever. We all are. With that amount of money, we're all hypocrites. I'll talk out of both sides of my mouth for that amount of money. I don't give a damn, so I'm good with it. How does Kyrie Irving, being a ball-dominant guard, how does that work out now with Luka Doncic, who is also a ball-dominant guard?
Well, I think the main reason behind it, and we'll see, but I think Dallas sees a lot of zone defense because Luka is so good in the pick and roll and off the double team. Like, he's seen it all. So I think they're so good at zone, teams go against zone against him. And I think Kyrie's another guy who can break down that zone. So when Luka gives it up, instead of the swing contested three by Finney Smith or Tim Hardaway Jr. or whoever, Now you have a guy who can swing, and then catch it and actually break down the team and get to the rim and make those plays happen, those secondary plays happen. So, I think you're going to see a lot of Luka with the ball, obviously, to start. And then on the kick out, whether it's a double team, a zone, a hard show, whatever defense they try to employ, now you got another guy who can break it down and not just swing, contested three. So I do think that's kind of their reasoning behind it. I also think it's a good, if you look at the stats when Luka comes off the floor and the second unit is playing, it's not very good for the Dallas Mavericks. So it's another guy who can, kind of have that second unit, quote unquote, and really be a ball dominant guard when Luka is out and having that much needed rest. So on paper, it makes sense, but we all know it's not about on paper with Kyrie. Kyrie's one of the most talented players of all time. And I don't take those words lightly. He is extremely talented. He's a magician with the ball. He can do things on the floor that only, as a point guard, that only Chris Paul can do. And Kylie's probably more talented, while Chris Paul has a better production over his career. So he's one of the most talented players of all time. So on paper, it should make sense. But again, that's not what we've seen with Kyrie. Is on paper, it should have made sense in a lot of places.
Are you worried about him flaking out in Dallas?
Why would I worry about that? I'm a Pistons fan. I don't care.
Yeah, right? Flake out all you want. I hope it happens next week. I hope he's like, nah, trade me again after the deadline.
I think it's inevitable, man. Don't you? I think it's inevitable. If the past can tell us anything, I think it's inevitable.
He'll be there for like 2 weeks. And I just wonder how, he's such a gifted scorer. He's got an incredible handle. Like, he is electric to watch. He has got to be one of the most unlikable people on the planet, though, because of just that. Like, he just flakes out. Like, he's completely not dependable. You're getting paid millions of dollars. You sign the contract, play it out, man. Like, what are we doing? How much do you think this hurts his overall legacy?
I don't know. I think his teammates genuinely like him. To go back to your point, like I remember LeBron when Kyrie demanded the trade from the Cavs after winning the championship.
That's what I knew. He was a square.
Well, but to LeBron's point, all he kept saying to management is, "Do not trade him. Get him to camp. Just get him to camp. I'll take care of the rest. Get him to camp, and I'll take care of the rest." And I really do believe LeBron when he said that. That he could have that because they do have that relationship with Kyrie. Now, we know Kyrie's relationship with management, with the media especially, is extremely complicated and extremely long. It's been written out, it's played out in a lot of different ways that I think that adds to the overall stress of the situation that he's in. And, I don't think it's unfair to say that I think the media and the beefs he's had with the media and maybe the management has boiled over to his on-the-floor play. So I don't know, man. For his legacy-wise, like they'll always have that shot that he hit against Golden State, which, is an unbelievable shot. He'll always have the mixtape, which is what this generation cares about anyways. If you know what I mean, Bellino, we don't watch full games. We watch a mixtape, and on the mixtape, Kyrie is going to have one of the best ones in the history of the NBA, probably top 10.
I had a guy text me in the group chat, speaking of tapes and how people consume games, and it said, the quote was, quote, Amani stock going up. And it was Amani, no apostrophe S, stock, omitted the word is, and then going up with the little up emoji. And all I could do was laugh. And I'm like, dude, I mean, it's just it was like the game after the game they played against Bowling Green. And I'm like, look, man, I don't know. You got to do more for me than just watch 10-minute snippets on Instagram. They're not even that long. You know what I mean? Like it's just shot after shot after shot. But it is very, very intriguing and very interesting. Here's my last question for you, Coach Barlow, on the Detroit Pistons, because obviously you've been watching a lot more Pistons basketball this season than you have in recent years. Mm-hmm. I think they got what they need. They're just missing a starter. I think that Beef Stew, I think that Sadiq Bey, I think that Killian Hayes, I think that they have kind of fulfilled their 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe Isaiah Livers, 9th, Hamidou Diallo, 10th, right there. I think that they have fulfilled their bench. They need that 4-man to go along with Duren, to go along with Bogey, Cade, and Ivy. That's what they're missing. One more wing player, and I think that we're good. I don't think they make a trade here at the deadline.
No, I think they stand put, and I think the most valuable asset right now is Bogey. And I don't think they're going to get rid of him. Like, I don't think, unless some team comes along with a very tempting first-round draft pick, because we all know how much Troy Weaver loves draft picks, and rightfully so. But I don't think I think you stand pat. I think Bogey's going to be a big part of your future with the way he scores the ball, and he could bridge this gap from the young kids to kind of playoff contention, hopefully in the next few years. So I'm with you. I think that, the hope is you're going to have a high lottery pick this year and you can fill that need. And then maybe with these draft picks and these lottery picks, maybe you do make a trade in the next year or so to get yourself, if you look like what the Cavs did when they started stocking young talent and then stocking draft picks, and then Donovan Mitchell became available, they pulled the trigger. Right, so maybe it's that what's going to look like with the Pistons. Maybe not, but maybe that's what it's going to look like with them. Or maybe they could just build through their draft and what they have right now. So I like it. I agree. It's hard to say you like this team that is just it's struggling so much, especially in the defensive end of the floor, this young team. But you'd be crazy to see if you can't see the talent that they have right now and see the pieces that they got in place.
Yeah, I want to believe. I want to believe that. I really like Hamidou. I hope that they keep him because I think he's an NBA athlete. Maybe not the best shooter, but he can block a shot. He'll rebound. He'll get to the bucket. Like, I like that about him. Isaiah Livers, I didn't know what kind of pro he may or may not be. I still don't really know exactly, what his trajectory sort of looks like. But Saddiq Bey, rookie year, explodes onto the scene this year and last year, taking maybe a little bit of a step back. And I think that we found in Dwayne Casey even said, like, his role coming off the bench. I was surprised that Dwayne Casey said it, but when they get to the playoffs, like, that's where he's going to be able to have success. Even your boy, Killian Hayes, good game last night, right? Played a lot of minutes, had a nice game. Perfect off the bench. He's just not a starting point guard in the league. Like, I kind of like the way we're made up. We're a really good bench team. That's why we only have 14 wins. We got a bunch on the bench, not enough on the starter. He's the coach, Kyle Barlow. They're on the road tonight against Northern Illinois. 8 p.m. on ESPN+. Coach Barlow, thanks for waking up with us. Go Bobcats. Oh, yeah, all that.
Roll Bobbies.
Is that what they say? Roll Bobbies? Is that real? I don't know if I've ever heard that before. Roll Bobbies.